Hi, welcome to the Spark and Plug Talks. This is episode 5. Thanks, J-Rod.
Anytime.
Musical guest today is the fantabulous, delicioso Canon Lee.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much for having me.
Canon, thank you, man, for driving out here to the middle of sunny, beautiful nowhere. Appreciate it, man. You just got done playing 3 awesome songs for us. So I think what we'll do is kind of approach each song and kind of dissect them and talk about, your influences in writing them and just kind of your, musical whims, if you will,
Sure, yeah.
Does that make sense? All right,
Totally.
cool, man. So first one was, I'm a Record. And that one has been that one's doing pretty good for itself, man. I've heard it on the Cat's Local Talent Show. A lot of people seem to really dig it. Did you, when you wrote that song, were you like, this is it, man. This is a dope ass song.
I'll be honest. I was kidding around. One morning I woke up and I just literally started singing that. No, like pun intended, because the lyrics in the song actually woke up from a 20-year dream. But I woke up and I just started singing it, really just kidding around. And I was kind of thinking about, my son. He was like 12 at the time. Thinking about when I was that age and how things have changed, and really just kidding around, kind of like you sing in the shower, and all the lyrics just started to come to me all at once.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, this is funny, but I think people might actually dig this. So.
Yeah. So, like just a spontaneous kind of flowing of the music. That's really cool.
Yeah. And what was really interesting was I went downstairs, picked up my guitar, and the first thing I played worked perfect with it.
Wonderwall?
And it just,
No, just like
but no, it just so happened to be the rest of a song that I was already working on. So I think maybe while I was sleeping, maybe the chords were kind of going in my head, and I just woke up with that same key.
So you had a Keith
in my
Richard
head.
moment.
So maybe I don't know, but yeah. I long story short, the other half of the song was like the chorus part. I had already kind of been messing around with that, and so I just kind of put the two pieces together, and then I had a song.
Dope, man. Well, it's a pretty damn good song. It worked out pretty well, I'd say.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, so is that how you write a lot of your songs? Do you have kind of like a method for writing them, or is it just like whatever's going to working at that moment? Do you like start by picking up a guitar and like, okay, now I'm going to try and flesh out this song, or is it more like, I just woke up, I got to go get down and write this stuff down? This just came to me. I got the muse right now,
I really love that question because I talk about this a lot, and I think good creative endeavors are manifested through following that wherever it wants to go. So I think life just kind of gives us opportunities, and we have to kind of just capture that and just roll with it. And so try not to write in like one specific genre, even, because sometimes it just wants to go where it wants to go. And if I try to take control, then it's going to be a whole mess of trying to figure this out and that out, and instead of just kind of letting it go where it wants to go. And then it usually it's not always maybe my favorite genre, my favorite thing, but it's as good as it can be because I'm just kind of letting it go where it wants to go. So sometimes I'll write, to answer your question more specifically, like I'll a lot of times I'll just pick up the guitar and just like find a progression or an idea that works well and try to sing over that. But a lot of times it's just me thinking about something that maybe happened in my life or something I've seen somebody else going through, and I'll just kind of roll with those lyrics and just kind of have like a melody that I'm working with, and then I put the guitar to that. Sometimes it'll start out like as a poem, Zombies on TV, not to step too far ahead.
No, you're fine.
But that song I wrote as a poem, and I didn't ever expect it to be a song. I actually pulled out my notebook like 3 years later and was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I think those could be lyrics, you know? So it just happens in different ways, and I try not to get in the way of the muse, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. So you can say, so you might say you find inspiration in just about everything, because I think even the 3 songs that you played for us aren't like typically, and it's a hard thing to say typically, because no song's really like typical, but they're not like I'm a Record, Zombies on TV, even Beneath the Willow is like not, their lyrics aren't maybe conventional. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
they pair really well together, and it sounds great, and it's written really well, but they aren't like about, like a lot of people's songs are about like love, or even simpler subjects that aren't as complex, getting drunk or something like that,
Yeah.
partying, whatever.
Getting
And
drunk and in love.
hell yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I
Right.
rock to a lot of those songs. But
Yeah.
so do you kind of look pretty introspectively when you write, or is it like more of a, do you just find inspiration from whatever's in front of you?
Yeah, I mean both really. It's one of those things. I just kind of allow it to go wherever it wants to go, but I do like to start with I will say that I like to have an idea in mind, and I like to have a concept, something that people can kind of gravitate
Oh,
towards,
okay.
or
So you
tangible,
start, that's
something
your
that-
foundation.
some sort of foundation, that there's an essence to it, that this is kind of the idea behind it. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna just kind of follow it into whatever weirdness it wants to go.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to explain, but yeah, I mean,
It's kind of like starting with a big block of marble and chiseling it down to a statue.
yeah.
You may have some idea of where it is. Is that kind of in the right vein?
Yeah, sort of. What I will say is there's a foundation to a good song. You can't just like do a million chord. Just like you've got to follow certain guidelines to make something good. You can't just expect it to be good and it be something totally abstract. But you also have to flirt with the boundaries of what is normally acceptable and what is maybe slightly expansive and weird even. And some of the greatest artists do that. If you look at people, me and my buddy Paul were talking about Nirvana on the way over here, and I think what makes them great is some of the things that they do that aren't quite perfect. Some of the things that are
Kind of shows their humanness.
yeah, and they're flirting with the boundaries of what's even theoretically proper, and sometimes that works too. But if when it sounds good, when it doesn't. I think my thing is like I want to do something that makes the most sense for me. I always want to impress myself first and foremost, but I also have the understanding that if I want other people to jive with what I'm doing, I need to, probably do more of like most of the time, probably do a 4/4 kind of beat, and not that you can't do, crazy time signatures and different weird modes of theoretical, but it's always kind of just ever growing, and just I'm not stuck to one thing, but I am also trying to make sure that I'm not, there's certain things in a song that need to be there for it to be good. You can't just expect a song to just be good and just be completely abstract with it. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I am just like crazy with it. I wanna, there's kind of a typical guideline that I like to stick to, that musically makes sense for everyone, but that's what usually happens the most naturally anyways. That's not a hard thing to keep in mind, but
You're not like actively trying to do that. Just kind of tends to be what happens because you're,
doing what makes the most sense, but also
Yeah.
trying to do something that invokes curiosity and inspires me and does something that is interesting, and
yeah, hell yeah, man.
and so there's a balance between those two things is I guess
Yeah,
what
and
I'm
that's a
trying to
hard
get.
balance sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets pretty difficult. Well, who are you? So, like right now at this moment, who are you listening to? What kind of artists? What kind of bands are you listening to? Or maybe not artists, maybe not bands, maybe some sweet ass books or something. What are you listening to that's like helping you find the balance, helping you draw some inspiration?
That's a good question. I listen to a lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of classical music. And that just helps me. It's almost like a meditative thing that I do, and it kind of allows my mind to go a little bit more free, and not be too held down to an idea lyrically or melodically with the vocals, anyways.
Mhm.
But it feels like classical music helps me to.
Kind of get some meatloaf stuff going on.
But other than that, I mean, I don't. Meatloaf, I haven't really listened to a
Yeah.
lot. To,
Ah, won't do that.
But a lot of the stuff that inspires
that.
me, I listen to a lot of the Black Keys and White Stripes. I'm kind of
Ooh.
an indie blues rock kind of guy. I like a lot of that. I love like things like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've been kind of in a phase with them. I listened to some of their live stuff recently, and it's pretty amazing what they're doing still, just without any backing
Yeah.
tracks or anything.
Oh man, they're just
Yeah.
phenomenal, dude. I mean, what can you say about? I've seen him a few times, and yeah, just fucking great every time. There was one time I saw him at Bonnaroo in 2017, and I was in the pit, and I'm about 30 feet away from them on stage,
Nice.
and the whole time I'd been screaming at Chad Smith. I'm like, throw me a drumstick, please throw me a drumstick. And he looked at me towards the very end of the set. He looked at me and he pointed at me. He like pointed his drumstick and he was like, next one. And I fangirled, I was like, oh my God, Chad Smith's gonna throw me a drumstick. And he did. And they got done with the song, and every song he'd just be like, just tossing sticks. And they got done with the song, and he reared back, goes to throw it right at me. And it's pretty dead on. I mean, it's maybe like one person over. And I see it coming. And I was with my grandma and my mom at this music festival. And I see it coming. And my grandma doesn't even know the stick's being thrown at me or anything. And she is swinging her arms like this. And she's swinging. I'm on a podcast, so, I can't. She's moving her elbows in like a circular motion. Kind of wiggling her torso back. Anyway, like she's dancing. She comes back and just cold cocks me with her elbow right in the nose.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh no, look back and shit. And it's like blurry and everything. Just in time for this huge fat guy to just get absolutely rocked by that drumstick because he's talking to his friend. And he goes whack right in the head. And I see the drumstick fall and 2 or 3 other people dive on it and come up with it.
Yeah.
And I said, God damn it, Grandma.
Dang.
That's why you don't have grandmas.
Leave it to Barb.
Yeah, I'm just playing. But I was actually gonna. It's the whole reason I want it real bad was because before I went, Aaron was like, "Dude, get me." He's like, "Oh, you're gonna go see Chili Pepper? Give me Chad Smith's drumstick." And I was like, "I'm gonna get that for him. I'm gonna actually return and be like, dude, check it out. It's Chad Smith's fucking drumstick." Well, I walked away with that story, so I don't know if that's better or worse, but it's probably worse. But yeah, dome rocked right in my nose, man.
Well, was your nose bleeding? Or?
Yeah, dude, it bled.
Really?
Yeah, like it didn't give me quite like black eyes or anything, but it hurt. It hurt. But yeah, Chili Peppers are always fucking great, man. They always put on a killer show, dude. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's like a drum documentary on Amazon or something like that has a bunch of not no-name drummers, obviously, not no-name drummers at all, but they're way less household name drummers than Chad Smith. And it's like 7 or 8 of these low, and then it's like Chad Smith. And they just talk about drumming and stuff, and then they do like at the very end of the movie, they do like, or the documentary, they do like a drum solo of all of them. They're just all in like a big room. There's not all of them, maybe like 3 or 4 of them. They're in a big room, and they've all got their kits set up, and they're all trading off on drum solos to a backing track.
Yeah.
Chad Smith absolutely fucking destroys everyone else in that entire. Oh, dude, his solo is like, it's killer, man. It's killer.
He's phenomenal. When I heard, I think it was Lollapalooza that I watched the performance of, and they started out just like jamming, and it was like phenomenal. And then they went into like, and they kind of just started with like half of the riff, so they were like teasing it for a while.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
the way
Anthony
they
comes
came in
skipping
was-
out and everything, and
was
everybody's shitting their pants and stuff. It's amazing.
But yeah, they're very inspiring to me. They I cover Under the Bridge, and that one, to play it on the guitar and to sing it at the same time took a while.
Yeah, I was gonna
bet,
say
man.
that sounds like a challenge.
But once I got it down, I felt really good about it, and it's just the way that they blend like rock and roll with like R&B with almost like a medieval feel, kind of almost like a Zeppelin type feel sometimes even too. Yeah, they've got
They're killer,
they've got a
man.
vibe.
They've got like to go back and listen to like Freaky Styley or something, and then listen to, uh, The Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie or something. I can't. Aaron, what's that album that's all from? The Escape, or is that what it's called?
I'm with you.
Is that the one with The Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, anyways, yeah, that's like to go, but and there's whatever, it's 20 years difference between those, more than that, and it, man, just to see their transformation is dope. It's crazy. It's super inspiring. It's super cool, but see like the different guitarists they've had and stuff. I'm a Dave Navarro with the Chili Peppers fan.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, I think the 2 albums he did were like pretty killer. Like they've got some gems on them, man.
One Hot Minute. People shit on One Hot Minute, but One Hot Minute is fucking awesome.
One Hot Minute is awesome. It is rad.
I work out to Shikamaka Niku. I think that's how you say it. Almost that's like how I start out my workout, and then I know the playlist is gonna like go well from
Maybe you
there.
listen to Stretch You Out on the bonus track.
I'm not
Stretch
sure
You
if I
Out is
have.
fucking awesome. That song's rad as shit.
I think you're the
I'll have to
first
check it
person
out.
I've ever heard say that title out loud, so I don't know if it's right or not.
Shikamaka Niku. Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Something like that.
But yeah, it was on Wayne's World, and you know the song I'm talking about?
yeah,
though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Sick, man. Okay, well, so on to the second song. So,
On TV.
yeah, Zombies on TV, which was I think Jared's favorite. Yeah.
Out of
Out of the
out
three,
of the three,
three.
they were all great, but that one really captured me. And I was like, oh, this is actually really good. Like I liked the foreshadowing in it. So how'd you come up with that? Besides, like I know it was a poem.
Yeah, it was. It was a poem, and I was actually at work. You know when you get in that, I get the brain states confused, but I was in like
Funk.
theta. No, I was in like there's like alpha and there's like theta brain state,
Yeah.
But that brain state where you're working on something and your mind is able to kind of do something else because you're just doing a task that's monotonous.
yeah.
And so I was at work just like stocking the shelves when I was working at GNC as a manager of supplement store, and just like stocking the shelves there, and like it's like, take your time, what time will take it from you. It's just, I was like thinking about like the current state of like technology and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say it's got to
how-
be reflective on people being attached to like their
Yeah.
TVs, phones today, right? Like it's got to be what's that.
Yeah, pretty obviously. And I was more so like looking inwards at myself and just seeing how I can be distracted by it and how it's important to like take your time with things and how to actually just like how they say like live in the moment and
Yeah.
stuff. And if you like take time to smell the roses per se, then you can enjoy life better than when you're just always on your phone trying to find the next best thing you can find, like always searching for another thing.
When you're a zombie.
You kind of turn into like a zombie, and that was kind of the proliferation of that song. And it was just like a poem. I wrote it,
Yeah.
and it was really more so that than even a song. And of course, being a musician and everything, I thought maybe someday that could be something, but really, I didn't think too much about it. It seemed like it was almost too abstract and too like pointing the finger to like make it into a song, but I was like I just kind of was like going through my notebook and was like, I think that could make a good song, and so yeah, it
Makes a killer song.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, killer
much.
song. I think so.
Yeah, I really dig the chord progressions and the layout of it.
Well,
so.
you've got
Okay,
those
sweet.
first two. Just for people listening, you've got those first two songs out on all the streaming platforms and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can find those on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever.
Very cool.
Got
Dope.
there's a couple of versions of the I'm a Record, and then there's the kind of acoustic version of Zombies on TV. There's a guitar solo in there that is very specifically designed for that song, and there is some other stuff I have on SoundCloud, but that's kind of like sneak peek stuff.
Oh, okay. Everybody's got to join his Patreon to get those.
No, not
No, I'm just
necessarily.
playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Here's a question for you. What do these songs? Do you envision them more as acoustic or full band songs? Like, did they take their final form as full band songs?
Yeah.
Is that how you kind of imagine them?
Yeah, I think so. And the thing is I mean, I started out playing the drums, but I've invested the majority of my time with songwriting and guitar playing. Mostly just songwriting. I haven't really tried to be like the most virtuoso guitar player, although I can, get around on it. And I feel like it's more about the feel and the emotion behind it. And for me, not necessary. So I can always have that guy like Jared or Aaron to like come in and be that guy. But yeah, I think the songs definitely, most of my songs would eventually need drums. But what I'm getting at is Zombies on TV is one that I had a really hard time kind of figuring out a drum part for. And you can go like on SoundCloud and hear a version that I actually did put the drums to. And I've never heard anybody like, hey, I just don't like that at all. That's terrible. Like most people are like, that's actually pretty cool. But I think it could be better.
Gotcha.
And so I'm, just trying to find. I have a drummer that is now leaving for Hawaii. I've been through. I estimated about 30 drummers in the past 10 years.
Golly, I don't even know if I've ever met 30 drummers.
Yeah, like,
And I am a drummer. I'm
Yeah.
saying I don't even know if I've ever met 30 drummers.
It's yeah.
That's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but
Yeah.
pretty wild.
Well, it's one thing that I'm picky about, and also people kind of have their own lives and kind of go their own ways and stuff. But yeah, I just haven't kind of locked in the right person. But I'm looking for somebody who can kind of play like like Patrick from the Black Keys or something. Somebody who's gonna like stick to the foundation of the song, but also find the places where the song needs that flair and just like bring everything to life.
you want somebody to play the music basically, and not just robotically
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and actually, Dylan, whenever you played with me, we had some really good some good takes from that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so looking forward to playing with you too.
Hell yeah, man.
This next show on
Yeah,
the
April
22nd.
22nd, the night market down in Norman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this last one over this last weekend, I was telling you, went really good. There was like, they estimated there was like 1,000 people out there, but there's all these different vendors and pretty cool. They're doing that to bring the community together, and yeah, I was.
Well, I mean, you're pretty deeply involved down there in Norman. Like you do you do art walk, and you do a bunch of different cool little. Well, I shouldn't say little, but a bunch of things that they do down there
I try to
pretty
yeah.
often. Yeah,
Yeah.
gonna play Rusty's Custard. Didn't he have a birthday or
The
something like that?
National Ice Cream Day thing.
Oh yeah, okay, National Ice Cream Day.
I'm not sure he hadn't mentioned anything to me about it, but last year it went really well. I actually promoted it quite a bit, and quite a few people showed
Yeah,
up
it was
because
a
of that.
fun little gig. That was cool.
Yeah.
Free ice cream too. Can't beat that.
Yeah.
Not for my fat ass, anyways.
But
Yeah, everybody likes ice cream.
Yeah, most people.
Norman is growing into almost like a miniature Austin or something. It's the music
Yeah,
scene
they're definitely
is,
pretty cool, man.
it's getting pretty cool out there.
I like that. I think Norman has a little music scene, just everything that kind of Norman Music Fest and companies, it kind of spilled from there. And then
Mhm.
but it's like definitely, I think, the least clicky of like the kind of different scenes that are around Oklahoma and
Yeah.
the surrounding areas and stuff. I think anyways,
Yeah.
but, and not to say that none of them are like approachable or like you can't, but it feels like you go to Norman Music Fest, you see all the different genres, all the different bands interacting, and like, people are just there to listen to all kinds of.
Yeah, it's kind of like the
different
melting
music.
pot, if you
Yeah.
will,
Mhm.
of everything. Whereas like Stillwater, it's home of Red Dirt, and then Tulsa, blues. Like Oklahoma's so diverse in their music.
And they've all got, all of those have all got their own. There's like that metal scene in Oklahoma that
Yeah.
there's a lot of bands that are like, there's just like strings of bands that are form ties all around the state that, and that's there. And there's just a whole lot of different kind of groups, kind of cliques going on, but I think going to Norman Music Fest, just walking around, like people are literally euphoric,
Yeah.
like people are like,
It's
wow, it's like so easy to just talk to people and shoot the
Yeah.
shit and find something you have in common and stuff there. Like people are literally there just to be happy,
Yeah.
and it's just
It's-
rare to find a place like even
It
at
is.
the different events that are held by those other, cities and genres that we were talking about.
Mhm.
It's hard to find
It's-
that thing that they've
Their
cultivated
niche,
there.
basically. Yeah.
It's
It's
amazing.
a really cool niche. It's really cool.
So
It's what's kept me in Norman, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like the Norman Music Festival and all that surrounds it, and the art walk every month is almost like a miniature Norman Music Festival
Mhm.
leading up into it, and I've made a lot of great connections out at the Norman Music Festival, and my buddy Paul, I met him out there, and they actually asked me to be part of like a commercial, and then like I was out there playing.
Oh,
and
very cool.
So I was in that, and then ever since then, me and Paul became really good friends, and
A male enhancement commercial.
do you have
It
trouble when
was,
you snuggle?
It was actually for cannabis. It was for
Oh, okay.
mango
I
cannabis,
gotcha.
but I mean, it could be, and some people might consider it that. It might enhance something,
Yeah.
but no,
Not wrong.
we're working on a project together. I'm working in multiple different projects, but that's one of those places where you'll run into people, you'll meet people that are like-minded and want to be a part of something you're doing, or vice versa.
Mhm.
And the whole community surrounding it's my favorite part. And that's honestly that I love music, and I always have, and I've always done it for myself, and I've always done it because I want to impress myself. But as I go along with things, the most endearing and the most satisfaction that I get from all this is the connections and the people that I meet and the
Yeah.
relationships that I make with people.
I think that's like definitely something that you might find among, I guess, not complete assholes like that are famous, like bands that are famous and stuff. Is that
True.
I think a lot of the
Yeah.
time it's like you meet really amazing fans and really cool people.
Yeah.
And
then you have those
playing
people that write songs about Taco Bell,
Yeah, we won't say anything.
allegedly.
Well, okay, so and then song number 3,
Yeah.
Beneath the Willow. So, and that's my favorite. That's my favorite out of the 3. That might be my favorite one. I don't know. I like the chocolate.
Coffee and chocolate.
Yeah, dude. I really like the coffee and chocolate one. But
Yeah.
we won't talk about that. I don't want to spoil anything. That's the Easter egg for this episode.
Yeah.
But so Beneath the Willow.
Well, technically, Beneath the Willow is the Easter egg for this video because that's not released yet.
Well, double Easter egg.
Yeah. There's some videos people can find and stuff. but
Oh, okay, there you
there's
go,
No, there's no recording.
What do you plan on releasing that
That'll
song
be
sometime in the?
that'll be the next one.
Okay,
and,
cool.
Yeah, so it'll be coming really soon.
Well, very sick, man. Okay. Well, J-Rod, you got anything?
I did. I'm trying to think of what it was.
usually you toss out the like how'd you
Yeah, but
trying to stomp some new
I
ground?
don't want to be that guy that asks the same repetitive question over and over. I guess really. So, do you have any goals or like future endeavors as far as your music career goes? Like, do you just want to stay in Norman and do just locally, or are you trying to get around and maybe tour eventually?
Yeah. That's one thing. I'd like to get out to Austin. I'd like to get out to some places and do a small tour and just see what else is out there.
Yeah,
Definitely a ton of spots. Just like you said, Austin,
Even
Dallas, Fort Worth.
yeah,
all that.
DFW is great.
But the thing is I kind of want to have a good album worth of music before I really get going crazy like that. I need to kind of get all my ducks in a row per se. But yeah, I mean, music it's everything I do. I mean, it's not really, it's my main gig. It's not my side gig. you know?
For sure, man.
So
Yeah, it's a great, and I think as a musician, it's like sometimes it's pretty hard to
balance
not
out.
stray from that. Yeah, to balance it and to not keep that in mind. But it's a healthy attitude to have to certainly, expand yourself, expand your musicianship, and everything like that. It's like you got to keep. You don't always know when those opportunities come along, or what form those opportunities are going to be. At least that's what, even in the past year for me personally, it's been like, okay, yeah, I'll roll with that. And it's turned into a really good thing in a few different scenarios, so, but
yeah, I think that's really where I'm at. Is it's a matter of opportunities presenting themselves. I'm not, if something happened in a couple months and they're like, hey, come out here and do this, I mean, I'm not going to turn it down as long as everything makes sense. I mean, but I also don't want to, I'm not going to be the guy who's like sleeping in their car and just roughing it. Like, my health is a priority, and I think that in order to do anything great in life, I think that needs to be a priority, at least at some point. You guys are pretty young. I'm getting to where my age is starting to, I'm starting to understand how much good sleep does for me and everything. Yeah. I'm not old by any means, but it's
sometimes
it's one of those things.
You feel like it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You get a couple bad nights of sleep, and then your productivity is shit for a week or two.
Right.
And so,
yeah, got to keep it in mind. Okay. Yeah. Well, Aaron, you got anything?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Nope. Nothing from Ronnie.
Good questions were asked.
Yeah. I feel like it was.
If you wanted to.
Yeah, I was gonna say
anything about the Beneath the. Did you ask? Did I say any? Did I?
I don't think we really did.
Yeah,
we never really dug into
ahead.
that. So
I don't know if you wanted me to touch on that.
Yeah, for sure, man. How'd you come about writing it, and what kind of was your inspiration behind that? Because it's kind of I wouldn't say sad song, but it's a little melancholic.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
it's definitely melancholic.
That was one where. It's the lyrics started out something completely different, honestly. Like, it was like I had to kind of figure out the musical idea of it all, and then as time went on, I was like, okay, those lyrics don't quite really resonate. Like, what's the idea behind this whole thing? And I think there was like maybe one or two lines that I kept in it, and then evolved everything else around that.
Oh wow!
So it was a real woodshed project.
Yeah. And so, as simple as that song is, it really started out like something completely different, and then I had to be like, okay, what's the most meaningful part of this song, and then how can I expand upon that, and then, it turned into this song that's just like so, relatable for I feel like anybody, because. It's just like, I remember you from way back when, and then, I'd waste a lifetime for another moment like this. I'm locked up in this long lost memory. Just kind of like we all like reminisce, and it's not in a negative way. It's just like, honestly, I feel like
It's very relatable.
we live our lives, and then we don't realize that we appreciate a time until like later on
Mhm.
happens, and then you can kind of look back and be like, oh, I'm glad I met that person at that time, and I'm glad to have that, and I hope that they feel the same way still, even though we weren't able to continue to go
Mhm.
on about things. You know.
No,
and-
yeah, for sure.
and
And
s-
it's very like I commend you for sticking with that and woodshedding it, because a lot of songs like that, sometimes they get like left by the wayside. If
Mhm.
it's like not, if sometimes you don't sense that there's that thing there, in the beginning. It's like building this house, and sometimes you just like, fuck it, I got the foundation. We'll go to something else. I'll use that for something else. But
yeah.
it's cool that you stuck with it, built it up, and into what's a really dope song. I mean, it's a cool song.
Yeah, that can be really hard to do. You're right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whenever you're
Yeah.
like feel like lost in a song, but I knew that there was something very tangible in that song, that it had a heartbeat and everything, and the guitar and the vocal, the way that it blends together, that also was woodshedded. That wasn't. It was just like a basic chord thing at first. And then I started to realize that there were these subtle things I could do where I pull off at the guitar, and then I like come off of the microphone a little bit, and kind of drag certain things out to give it the feel of what I'm saying in the lyrics. Like, I remember you from way back when, and it kind of comes off the microphone, and then the guitar is also like
Just
pulling
very
off right
dynamic.
there. Yeah, and so the dynamic elements of it and everything else, that was also kind of implemented later on to make something that I felt like was more polished, more something that people could appreciate as a piece of art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hell yeah, dude. And it's like, well, now I'm like kind of sad that it's not out on streaming stuff. Like, I want it to be out there for people to go and listen to, but that's okay. So
that can be the one that they're anticipating. They can find
Yeah.
they can find me under.
yeah, go and follow them now,
under
so
Canon
that way
Lee.
you can
Yeah.
know when Beneath the Willow comes out.
I've actually got a few fans that are just like absolutely gung ho about that song. They're like, there's this guy. He's like, that's like my favorite song, and I'm like, really? Like, wow.
Oh, well, that's a good problem to have. For you, that's dope.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to hear that. So,
Cool, man. Well, dope. Yeah. So, Canon, where can everybody find you? What can they search up? Where can they search it up to find all your information? What songs you got out, all that cool stuff.
You can search Canon Lee, CANONLEE, Spotify, Apple Music, or really anywhere you listen to music. There'll be I'm a Record, Zombies on TVs out there. And you can find me on social media under that name as well. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm putting out short videos, so I'll do like covers and originals. Got quite a few
Sick.
shorts out there.
You got any favorite covers? Your absolute like diehard ones?
I mentioned Under the Bridge. That one. Or did I mention that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
did.
did.
You
You
talked
did.
about
Okay.
how hard it was to play, and also
Yeah,
sing.
I remember we talked about that before, but I wasn't sure if we did during as well. But yeah, that song. And I got the most streams. Not necessarily this is my favorite, but I did that "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
And it blew up kind of for me
'Cause
anyway. It was-
Weezer fucking schmacks.
yeah, I was like, holy cow! I like looked at my phone. I was like, wait, am I seeing that right? A lot of people seem to like it. On the one on Facebook kind of blew up.
Hell
But-
yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, I love the cover of the Black Keys, and with the full band, there's a whole lot of love. That song goes pretty hard. People get pretty wild when I play
Yeah,
that
been
one.
there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Well, if nobody else has anything to add, it's been awesome having you out, dude. Really appreciate it. And thanks for playing your ass off and giving us some great content and something for people to check out. And Canon Lee, go check him out. Go look up all the stuff, and I don't know, send him $100.
Yeah,
You
do
know,
that.
whatever.
Hey, thanks
Okay.
for what you guys are doing, and
Yeah, man.
for helping artists, and yeah,
Of course.
glad to be out
Hell
here.
yeah, man. All right, this has been the Spark and Plug Talks. I appreciate everybody tuning in.
J-Rod out.